Well, joining us now on This Is the Day is Bishop Bohden Danylo, is the Eparch of the Ukrainian Catholic Eparchy of St. Josaphat in Parma, Ohio, and he joins us today to talk about his recent visit to the Ukrainian-Polish border. Thank you so much for being with us, Bishop.
Thank you very much, and God bless you on a Good Friday, and wishing everyone a blessed Triduum Paschale and especially Easter.
Thank you, Bishop. You as well. Maybe if we could start from the beginning, if you could tell us what made you decide to visit the border of Poland and Ukraine during this challenging time during the Russian invasion.
Actually, there were two steps. One, as a part of Permanent Synod, which is Administrative Council of the Ukrainian Catholic Bishops, I'm traveling more often than usually just for one synodal meeting. I'm usually 3-4 times a year in Ukraine, assisting the head of our church with the activities of the church throughout the year. And I was in Lviv, Western Ukraine, on February 9th, basically 2 weeks before the beginning of the war. Wow. And when we were already talking about invasion, the 120,000 of Russian forces on the border, in Ukraine life was quasi-normal, at least in the western part. And they reminded me, first, something that we all know today, that war is not about to begin, but the Ukraine is at war with Russia since 2014, since Crimea and that eastern two provinces, Luhansk and Donetsk, were taken over. Second, they asked us to tell the truth. And today, your station, any TV stations in America are showing the horrific images of Ukraine. And third, probably the most profound for me, they reminded me that we will not leave. It's the only land given to us by God, and we will defend it. So today, almost 50 days after the beginning of the war, Ukrainians are still defending their land. But we all see the images of women crossing with the children, and I just wish to be with them.
Yeah. And the location, I understand, is nearby to your Polish hometown. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience, what it was like being there?
I grew up in that town. I was born in North, and then both my grammar and high school education happened in that city of Przemyśl or Peremyśl. Now we all see that city on cameras of the major TV stations. And it was a quiet 70,000 people town. And during the height of the refugees, in one day, there was over 38,000 women and children crossing by foot. They couldn't allow the cars already because it was blocking the Ukrainian side of the border. So if you were in Kyiv, capital, it usually takes 7 hours to come to border. It took 4 days. You stay 2 days on the border in March, with the weather like in Chicago, Cleveland. And then you cross in semi-freedom or at least safety into European Union, into Poland. And those images, as you recall, were horrific. But when I came, I saw a dignity of those people. Even though they basically carry what they could take in one suitcase, they were kind to each other, they help elder. Could you imagine if you would remove from the city of Chicago or Cleveland or any major city, any male 18 through 60? That's what those images look. They're just women and young children.
And if you could expand on the Polish response. Poland has been incredible, welcoming all these refugees, and maybe if you could talk about their response and maybe some of the needs of the refugees as they come through the border.
A lot of people are asking why Poles are so welcoming. And I was a child in 1981. Probably not too many viewers already remember the Solidarity movement, when Poland itself was trying to come from under the yoke at that time of the umbrella of the Soviet Union. And a lot of young Polish were leaving Poland right before that martial law, and they went to Austria, later on to Italy. Pope John Paul II was at that time, if you recall, the Pope. Yeah. And they came to Canada and US. And often today they say, those countries help us. And today Poland is willing to take 2.5 million refugees. They have no shelters for them. They keep them in their houses, monasteries, schools, or hotels. Wow. It's amazing what they are doing, and they really welcome them with dignity. There is kindness. They give them calling card for a month to call their husband and sons or daughters who are left behind in Ukraine, and they try to give them temporary setting in Ukraine, or rather on that Polish border already, and then more permanent life either in Poland or other European countries.
And just running out a little out of time here, Bishop, but I wondered if you could just briefly talk about us watching at home, Catholics, how we are called, especially during this time of year, how we're called to respond to those who are suffering. Maybe if you could give some suggestions on how people should respond to this crisis.
First, I would say, especially today on Good Friday, we have to remember that cross is not the ending story of our salvation. Cross is important, but after the cross comes resurrection. So I would ask everyone to say a prayer. God is still watching over us. In a human response, that fight between David and Goliath, between the huge army of Russia and Ukraine, we should lose long time ago. But somehow God is on the side of those who are defending. Second, I would ask everyone to tell the truth to their neighbor, and keep that war alive, because if it doesn't end in Ukraine, soon could be European country, or perhaps may even come to the shore of the mighty America. And third, if you can help, there is so much help already done by Americans, for Ukraine. There are huge donations, and one of the institutions that helped me to travel was Catholic Extension. It's catholicextension.org/Ukraine. You can learn about the human suffering and also great opportunities to help, as well as the moments that other people in a miraculous way were helping those who are in need. So I would ask for those three things: prayer, telling the truth about the reality of war, and especially trying to help as much as we can. And often donation is the easiest way to deliver this to those who need food, who need shelter, or who need an arm that would listen to their plea and their suffering.
Thank you, Bishop, so much for being with us, for sharing your experience, and we continue to pray for all the Ukrainians and pray for Poland as well, for all their work in helping them as they seek shelter from this invasion. Thank you so much, Bishop.
You're welcome, and wishing all the viewers a blessed Easter. Please enjoy the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and especially your families. It's a gift from God. We have to live this experience as Ukraine is fighting to live that experience as well.
Thank you again, Bishop. And as you said, we're grateful to Catholic Extension for their support and care for those in need.